Well, Dokkan, you have outdone yourself. They finally made a very difficult event in the Dokkan Virtual Ultimate Clash, aka Battlefield, and they really stepped their game up here. So I decided to go ahead and just do Ultimate Mega Fast Forward through some of this stuff. So particularly the first two phases. I went ahead and just fast forwarded everything. You guys are going to notice that I did keep the animations on. It's just a fun Dokkan Battlefield in the past, or, you know, the Virtual Ultimate Clash. It's not called Battlefield. There is no Battlefield anymore. There was literally one Battlefield and it never came back, and it actually never came to global. But the Dokkan Virtual Ultimate Clash. So a couple things about it. So number one is you have to be level 150 to take on the Dokkan Virtual Ultimate Clash. I suppose the reason why they gatekeep it by level is because you wouldn't be able to take it down even probably at level 150 unless you are a mega whale who never stops grinding, right? And you've got a lot of these, you know, banner units and a lot of these Dokkan Fest LRs and Dokkan Fest exclusives and gold coin LRs and carnival LRs. Unless you've got a lot of them like with multiple dupes, you're going to struggle in here. And that couldn't have been more evident in this round of the Virtual Ultimate Clash, man. It was really tough this time around, particularly in the third phase. And the other thing that you need for the Dokkan Ultimate Clash is you need 112. You don't technically have to have 112 UR or higher characters, but I would definitely strongly recommend having your 112 characters. Matter of fact, I would also argue that if they're going to make it much harder than this, you might even want to up the amount of URs that you're able to bring. So they're going to start, it seems as though they have actually balanced this around not exactly the 200% leader skills, but the days of bringing, you know, 90% to one typing characters are just over, right? Like, you will never get it done unless you've got busted characters. You're not going to be able to get it done with something like 90% or 100% to your leader skill. They're wanting minimum like 150. If you want any chance, particularly in the latter phases here, you're going to have some stacked boxes. I think the title of this video is going to be something along the lines of RIP to free-to-play players, man, because you're going to have a stacked box. To get through this, for sure. So again, not to keep berating the point, but just make sure you kind of eat your Wheaties and, you know, put your big boy pants on before you take this on. So I would definitely argue I maybe underestimated it a little bit when I came in here. We are actually in the beginnings of Phase 3, and we are starting here with Fat Boo. So the thing about these bosses in here, in the third phase, you know, Stage 3, the last 5 bosses, the one thing about it is they are very tough. They have big, high attack and defensive numbers. They will hit you very hard. Except most of them, you can do everything to them. So meaning you can stun them, you can seal them, you can attack, and defensive lower them. Now, I believe that Kid Gohan, when we get to that phase, I don't think you can actually I don't think you can stun him. But other than that one thing, you can do everything to these bosses. So that is, of course, really good. So I would say the two boos in the third phase are really not much to shake a stick at if you have, you know, competent teams. So I think what I'm going to have to do is the next time I go through this event, which I always do the 3 runs through it. There has only been a few times ever I haven't done all 3 runs through it, because you got to get that Elder Kai at the end, man. And I believe they're actually giving out more than one Elder Kai at this point for completing it, which is really nice. But again, you get through it 3 times, you get that Elder Kai at the end, so I do try to do that every single time. But one monster suggestion I would relay to you is to use full category teams, if at all possible. So, like I said in the beginning of the video, like, you better have a fleshed out box. You better have fleshed out categories, because it's tough in here, man. They want you to use category teams, it would seem, in here. Just considering how hard these enemies hit. Now, they want you to... We have enough characters in the game now. Well, it's been like this for a while, but we have enough categories in the game now where you can legitimately run full categories of a specific typing of a specific class. So that's not really that tough to do. But I think simply having, you know, that extra 20 or 30% to the leader skill to all of these characters is going to greatly benefit you. As I stated previously, you know, the days of running a double 100% leader in here, I think those days are numbered. Unless you're talking about, you know, Tech God Goku against a movie boss, right? There's just which we will encounter at the end, right? I think that would be probably the lone exception to that rule. So hopefully, again, you have fleshed out categories, and maybe you even have a copy or two of the, what are they, the 60% support units now. So hopefully you do, because they are 150% in key 4 to the type and class. So that is obviously very, very helpful to you. But let's go ahead and get this Vegeta active skill.
本当の戦いはこれからだ。今の俺は誰にも止められんぞ。ファイナルシャインアタック。
I could have chose to probably leave out that active skill. That is like the OG active skill, right? It's not technically. So if you guys will recall over here on Global, technically B-Pan was in the data before the Super Saiyan 4s, right? So I guess she was technically the first active skill character, but I think we could probably summon the Super Saiyan 4s before we could actually acquire LR B-Pan. And even before then, we had the LR Gobros for the Saiyan Day celebration, right? I guess it was the Goku... It wasn't Saiyan Day, pardon me. It was Goku Day. So the 5/8, 5/9, 5/10 celebration within Golden Week. But we are making our way to Evil Skinny Boo here, so let's go ahead and check out this entrance animation.
時間がかかってすまなかったな。まだこの年間に慣れていねえんだ。
So it's going to be huge now. Huge when you're going up against these battlefield bosses. Remember, these bosses are not going to get easier, right? They will only get harder from here. So it's going to be very important that you actually read the description of the boss. They explicitly say immune to attack and defense reduction, or immune to the stunning effects, immune to super attack ceiling. But all of these guys have kind of a shtick, right? Along with being able to lower their stats and stun them and seal them, they all have kind of like an ability. So this guy, he heals, and then he also can dodge, and I believe it was the same thing with the Majin Buu Good character. And then we will find out later on in the fight, man, there is one enemy in particular, maybe a couple of enemies here, that really gave your boy a run for his money. This, again, this is the most I've ever struggled in Battlefield. I haven't struggled this much in Battlefield since probably trying to run it on my, like, shitty, you know, semi-free-to-play JP account, right? So it's been a long time since I've struggled with Battlefield like this, so... but we're going to have no issues at all. We legitimately got the absolute perfect opening rotation for Skinny Boo. I actually could have seen this fight maybe being a bit challenging, but just it really ended up not being so, just because we have the 3 Majin Buu characters. You know, we've got all 6 links active right here for him. I believe we had, did we have all 6, or we had 6 of 7, I believe, active for the new AGL Super Saiyan 3 Goku. And then, you know, Ultimate Gohan, right? He put in some work as well. And then there we go. We got through the skinny Evil Boo. Again, that could have gone, I think, a bit worse. I actually heard about some folks struggling with the skinny Boo. I did not. However, you can see how much time is left in the video, and we only have 3 fights left. So, so it's one of these next 3 bosses that your boy struggles with, and you're about to find out who. I guess all spoilers aside, right? It's Garlic Jr. This guy was a pain in my arse.
これがスーパーサイヤ人5。こんな世界があったなんてよ。
So Garlic Jr., his shtick is that he auto-seals one of your characters every turn. Now, these aren't the craziest opening rotations, and to be honest with you, I didn't really know what the best choice was here. It was I either get my damage reduction with Kid Goku, which in hindsight probably should have made sure I got his orbs. I don't know if I did or didn't. It was also kind of tough to resist getting all of these orbs with the 60% support character. But again, in hindsight, you know, being being what hindsight is, I probably should have made sure that everyone got their damage reduction. I severely underestimated Garlic Jr.'s power, dude. And by the way, this Dead Zone background is really, really cool. I really quite, other than me getting my asshole pummeled, I really did enjoy like the aesthetics of the fight. That part made it kind of fun. But yeah, I didn't really know, like, what is the right choice here? Probably getting orbs with Kid Goku would have been my first choice. And I really thought, you know, making sure God Goku got his 3 orbs I thought was important, because we have True Guard here, right? So just getting dodges with the 3 orbs is important. We didn't need to get all 6 orbs for God Goku. So this fight could have gone a lot differently. And again, he heals. That is, all of these guys healing, man. If he would have just dodged this one, this would have been a much, much different fight. But alas, he did not. But there is no crying in baseball, so we went ahead and just moved on with our life. And again, this is another instance. I actually think we're not looking too bad here. I think that, you know, leading off with Ultimate Gohan's probably the move there. I like the idea. I really liked the idea of putting my 70% dodge character in front of the brunt of the attacks. I thought that he would still be okay, even without his super attack effect. So again, I like the 70% chance to dodge here. Remember, this guy doesn't cancel evasion or anything like that. We just got unlucky with God Goku. I'm pretty sure I got all my orbs. I'm pretty sure it was just we didn't get the 60% chance nor the hidden potential system chance. But I liked rocking these guys in slot 2. I figured their defense would be good enough. It would be adequate. And remember, they get more attack in slot 2, or I suppose they just get less attack and more defense in slot 1, however you want to look at it. So again, we get all these super attacks here. We're getting a lot of stacks here with their defense. Going into the standby mode with this character would be a good idea. Potentially, like if they get sealed and like we can totally cut Garlic Jr. I don't want to say they're like a must run in here, but if you have them, you probably should just run them.
Maki があんたに渡してって。
やらなければいけないんだ。俺がこの世界に生きる人間として。
Now right here, as soon as we loaded into this turn, I knew that this was game over. Really, I felt like I was damned no matter what I did. Probably in hindsight, what I should have done is I should have led off with Kid Goku. I know it's not Kid Goku, but you guys get it, right? It's like the movie Goku, right? It's basically Kid Goku, right? From the Path to Power movie. But again, I knew if Garlic Jr. super attacked there, we were just dead and there was not much we could do. I had a couple of backup teams that I had in mind, but the RNG was simply not in ya boy's favor this time around. It just wasn't. So you can see I don't have too many Fizz characters left, so I'm just going to have to resort to using a category. I'm going to have to start to break in to, you know, a lot of these, you know, not smaller categories, but kind of more limit. You like to have type advantages in here is what I'm trying to say. So, you know, having, you know, potentially some characters with type disadvantage in here, or even being type neutral, is kind of scary, unless they're like Omega supremely busted, like, you know, LR Orange Piccolo with his entrance animation up where he's got the guard. But that's not always the easiest thing to do. It's easy on his team, but Bondmaster and Disciple, a lot of those units have fallen off quite a bit, I would say. So, but this is the team I decided to rock with. Now, unfortunately, Vegito here, the Tech LR Vegito, is only getting 1 leader skill, which is a problem.
いけるぜベジータ。
But I just figured I'd be running him in slot 3 no matter what anyway, and we're going to have to rely on dodges. So whether he had 1 leader skill or 2, I just figured he's going in slot 3 anyway with the 70% chance to dodge. Pretty unlikely that we would get to, what is it, turn 4 where they get their transformation. I don't think we would make it that far. But I actually didn't hate what I was seeing here. You know, being able to avoid AGL Gogeta taking any hits, I think, is a really, really good idea. He is definitely a dodge or die character in today's meta. He's been Easy 8, I think, for over a year now, if I'm not mistaken. He's been Easy 8 for quite some time now. So, again, him just opening with a super attack, that is just, I mean, that's so, you know, catastrophic, basically, to our chances here. Just one of the many instances in this fight where just the RNG was not in my favor. I think knowing what I know now, as I said, I think I could probably form a more competent team. And I'm going to go back to the drawing board. I mean, quite frankly, I'm going to rework all of my teams so that folks can fit in on a full leader skill. I think that is going to be the route I have to go, while maximizing the really, really effective units. Like, I could probably do a Pure Saiyan. The one that comes to mind is like Pure Saiyans for Super STR, but then I'm not including STR Easy A Kefla, who is like one of the best units in the game, and with her dodge chance and everything she does, you definitely want to include her on her team. So, just as an example, that's a unit I'd like to have.
1対1にこだわってる場合じゃないだろう。
So in terms of units you should have on your teams, dodging units are usually a pretty good bet. Units with extra damage reduction are also a good bet in here. A very, very good bet. Because when you have guard, and that's assuming you're running them with type advantage, right? So when you have guard with a character with damage reduction, so I'm not entirely familiar with the like the damage and the defensive calcs. However, I do know that damage reduction is calculated last in terms of the equation that Dokkan uses. So that means that damage reduction is going to take a lot of the heat off your characters. It's going to take the biggest chunk of damage away from your characters. So all I needed was Int Gotenks to dodge that last attack, and again, we just dog. I mean, what am I supposed to do, man? You just kind of throw your hands up and you know, bend over and slowly take it from Garlic Jr. What was I supposed to do there? So I felt like I had a decent chance here with my Androids team. I really like to... Who else did I bring? I just brought some random Target Goku character, I believe. But I was trying to maybe save another extra team for the final boss. So I took away 2 of my Movie Heroes characters here in the Gammas. The Gammas are still incredible for something like Dokkan Battlefield.
僕はヘド博士の最高傑作。そしてスーパーヒーローだ。
But units you should be using, right? So again, just really powerful units, that should go without saying. You know, all of your strongest LRs and Dokkan Fest TURs, bring them. You know, any modern 2024 or late 2023 character, any unit with damage reduction, any character with dodge, those are always good bets. But I think more specifically is you're going to want to bring characters who attack lower, seal, and of course, stun. Now again, just unlucky again, you know, Garlic Jr. just right off the rip, you know, hit me with a super attack there. I didn't really know what was the right choice there. Who do I lead off with? Maybe I lead off with MVP 17 and maybe we take less damage, but I don't know, man. You kind of got to just, you know, tip your cap to Garlic Jr., man. Kid just keeps getting me. I cannot avoid him. And this is, you know, again, I'm not like, you know, pounding the drum of like full dodge on every character, but when you can dodge the occasional super attack, if you've got, you know, 10 plus dodge on your characters and you can dodge, let's say 1 out of every 10 super attacks or just attacks in general, it's really going to benefit you. And it had Android 13 dodged there, which I kind of, looking back on it, should probably just throw dodge on him, right? But if he would have just dodged that attack, like, we live to fight another day, and I don't have to just keep dipping into these teams, man, because we're really getting down to the nitty-gritty here. Anywho, guys, I kind of settled on this Super Saiyan's team here.
ダメだ。二度と悪さすんじゃねえぞ。
And for some stupid reason, it always escapes me that the Tech Vegeta is not a superclass character. It's pretty much like after that moment he becomes a superclass character. It's like right after, it's either during or like after the Cell fight. You guys can fill me in on when that exact cutoff is, but I always forget that he's extreme class. So he's not getting the Tech Trunks buff here, which is, you know, which is annoying, so I decided to just like put him in the floating slot. Also, I think he got sealed, so that, you know, that was also the other reason there. I was like, well, he's not really going to do me too much good. But luckily, Future Gohan's still good enough here to get the job done. I got really lucky on Future Gohan's initial banner, got him at a 90%, which is, of course, really, really good. Oh, we finally take down Garlic Jr., but, dude, it was looking rough there for a minute. Past me was pausing there for a moment, just in solidarity, right? Because that was just rough. That was rough, rough, rough. So I'm really hoping that Kid Gohan, as I underestimated Garlic Jr., I'm really hoping Kid Gohan just kind of goes out really easy. And we do have a fairly good, you know, super int team here. I feel pretty good about that. I do have to dip into one of my Dragon Ball Heroes characters here, but I brought a couple of extra. So my Dragon Ball Heroes team is kind of like my secret weapon. For the final boss, Cooler, who I think we all know at this point is a menace, right? So, in hindsight, I would have just used the Dragon Ball Heroes setup for Garlic Jr., and I was adamant that I needed all of them for the Cooler fight. So again, in hindsight, would have done it differently. I will do it differently next time. But we have God Goku as a leader here, and then I used the 60% support Kid Gohan in the other leader slot there. I figured it would be good enough to get the job done, but I think you could easily use LR, Vegeta, and Trunks in that instance. I actually think it would have probably been a better idea. I would have had to rework the team a little bit more, right? Because Bond of Parent and Child is such an expansive category. We definitely could have made something work there. But God Goku, a really effective unit in here, right? The 50% chance to dodge. He gets the I believe he's got the 50% chance to crit as well, which he's had since pre-EZA. Getting a dodge there was humongous, right? Humongous. So 150% to pure and hybrid Saiyans I thought was a fair leader skill for Battlefield.
この先を見ろ。まだ見ぬ敵を。宇宙最強を。お前が誇り高きサイヤ人の血を引く者ならば、俺の息子ならば、誰にも負けることは許さん。俺、超えてみせます。目の前の敵も、父さんも。
And there are LR, Vegeta, and Trunks. So decided, I don't know why I have the Int Kid Goku here. He's certainly an effective unit. He can be. He's got adequate enough defense, I think, to get the job done in here. I don't think he's going to take damage on normals. But I may have brought him just for maybe his active skill. I forget what my rationale was for bringing him, but I think that there are stronger characters that I can bring. And again, this was a very humbling experience for me, as I've sort of hinted at. But this is kind of, you know, what you see is what you get here, right? We're getting Vegeta and Trunks built up. They obviously are getting 80% extra defense in the first slot. So I thought that that was actually really, really important to just let them get built up, stick them in the first slot, and let them do what they do. And in terms of the rest of the squad, they are absolutely holding their own here. So this guy can stun, so that is something to consider. I believe it's only a medium chance to stun, but he does stun on Super. So Kid Goku maybe not the worst option. LR Super Saiyan 4 with his damage reduction in slot 1, still going to be effective in something like Dokkan Battlefield. Unfortunately, he was one of the most rapidly aging characters that Dokkan Battle has ever seen. So, bit unfortunate for him there. Decided to float off the God Goku here because he's going to lose his defensive stacks after this point. So I figured now's the time to float him off, and we'll get him some dodges there in slot 3. Again, all of these characters that I've brought, I would say are at least effective in Dokkan Battlefield. So with the unit super attack here, we're going to be able to, you know, stack up a little defense. And then if we can make it to the next turn, I believe we are able to get his active skill. So that is, again, another really, really nice thing. Just free damage on these bosses without utilizing a charge is really, really good. Particularly for that last fight against Cooler, where charges are an actual issue, right? The point, I think the point of the fight, I guess we can just kind of get into it now. This is more of like a sample, you know, a bit of a sampler platter. This is kind of an appetizer to the boss Metal Cooler. So this guy doesn't even compare to Metal Cooler, I would say. But that is definitely a strategy that the boss is using, is he's got so much defense and damage reduction that he's just able to gobble up all of your attacks. So even utilizing something like the Orange Piccolo leader skill, yeah, see, you can see the charges here, right? So even utilizing something like LROP's active skill is not going to be as effective as it normally would. It will still eat up some of his, like, his super attacks they could potentially do. But I am pretty sure when he gets below a certain health, he does a different... He's kind of doing something different. I don't know what the health threshold is. Maybe you guys, if we have a bit more insight at the time of posting, maybe I will edit it in there or something. Or maybe you guys can just let me know in the comments below. Shit, man, we're 28 minutes in. If you've made it this far, you're an absolute goat. You should slap the like button for yourself, if anything, for making it this far in the video. I think I will put a timestamp to just go ahead and fast forward to Phase 3 and maybe even to the Metal Cooler fight itself, because I think that's probably what folks want to see when watching Dokkan Battlefield. Or I keep saying Battlefield, you guys know what I mean, right? The virtual ultimate clash. Yeah, here is the active skill. Let's go ahead and check this out. I almost never see this active skill. Alright, well, you'll love to see the big fat KO screen there. We are on to the big boss himself. So we are on to Metal Cooler, and I had heard a lot about this guy. Obviously taken me a few days to kind of upload this footage and get everything sort of squared away. But we actually are going to utilize the 100% to super tech leader skill here in the God Goku, right? It's not the best thing ever. This is not the most stacked team of all time, but remember, I had to dip into some of my super, my other characters against Garlic Jr., so we were just kind of at slim pickings at this point. And I really just wanted to make sure that we got our best lineup possible in there. So again, getting God Goku in the opening rotation was monumental to this run, I would say. So try to lead off with either one of those other two characters in the full power Saiyan 4 Goku or the LR Broly and Trunks, and I don't think we would be sitting as pretty as we actually were. So God Goku going to absolutely tank anything and everything that Metal Cooler can dish out. Remember, he's got the 77% damage reduction against movie bosses and pure Saiyans. Just an absolute goat of a unit. Just he really is. He is one of the all-time greats that this game has ever seen. He really is. And as defense has become more and more and more of the priority, this guy can just still be effective, which is just kind of crazy. If you have type advantage and 77% damage reduction, you are going to be looking really, really good. The only thing that this guy is offering is we could potentially dodge and counter one of Metal Cooler's super attacks.
さてそろそろ全開でいくかな。言っとくがおめえなんかに天下は取らせねえからな。
But other than that, it's just attrition, right? You know, super tech is not the craziest busted category. You think of the who is the most recent super tech unit that we've got? I mean, probably still the best unit on global is LR Orange Piccolo. But like, who is the best super tech unit that we've got? I don't even know. I can't even think of one. Think of even units that are coming in the near future. Who are good super tech units? You know, Topo is super fizz. The anniversary units are none of the anniversary units are super tech, right? So yeah, Beast Gohan is super STR, Broly extreme AGL, and then Gogeta is super fizz. And who am I forgetting? Oh, the LR Gammas, they are super int. So again, none of those LRs are even really going to be that effective in here. So this could be one of those instances where we, you know, try to make like a really competent movie heroes lineup and maybe forego, you know, like the support Tien or something like that. So I think had I not had to use some of those extra teams, I think I could have done that, and maybe I just throw on Gamma 1, right? Because he's got the guard and he has the damage reduction. So that could have been effective in here. But remember that this guy can have attack lowered, he can have defense lowered, he can be stunned and sealed. I think your best bet in here is you want to stun him. And honestly, for most of these fights, you probably just want to stun the opponent or potentially break their action, because the healing, I think, was the most annoying thing in here. When we got to the very end of Metal Cooler, the very, very, very end, where he's down to like 1 or 2 health bars, dude, it seems like his either his defense or his damage reduction is ramped way up, dude. I could not take him down. And part of that was on me, and you'll see why here in a little while. But I try to use LR Orange Piccolo, and you kind of forget that, yeah, you're not eating up turns, but you are eating up charges. So we were actually eating up charges for pretty low level attack stats in today's day and age. I mean, the most a rainbowed LR Orange Piccolo is doing is like a 3.5 million attack stat in that giant form, that, you know, that active skill that he has. So, not really the best choice. If they were all crits or something, or if we actually got, you know, LROP, he can potentially do 27 super attacks. So if we got all super attacks, right, that obviously could be, you know, effective. The odds of that happening are easily less than 1%, though. So I probably could have, you know, phased him, but in the end, it actually took a couple of different teams. You know, spoilers, but it took a couple of different teams to get through this Metal Cooler fight, man. He is just an absolute fiend, man, an absolute demon. The support Tien is still a good character to bring in here. So he is greatly lowering attack and defense. So that is not nothing, you know, greatly lowering. That's a big old 50% lowering of attack. So you like to see that. And then we're lowering attack here with World Tournament Goku as well. Metal Cooler's dishing out enough attacks where he's going to be fully built up. Or at least nearly fully built up by the time the fight is over. And just remember this, guys. So the same thing with LR. The same thing with the boss Shenron, you know, the boss Broly back in the day, even, you know, going back to Zamasu and Kid Buu and, like, all of these, like, you know, Blue Goku, like, all of these really tough Virtual Ultimate Clash bosses. And the enemies get power crept, right? I mean, the enemies, eventually Dokkan will release characters that are going to be more effective in these fights, and they always do this. I remember struggling and just straight up getting one-shotted by Omega Shenron because he could lock you with your worst character and super attack in slot 1, and you're just dead. You know, unless you dodge it, you're dead. You have no chance of surviving. So, God Goku's a no-brainer right here. I decided to float off I think I floated off LR Orange Piccolo here. And my reasoning is this, is he doesn't have his entrance animation up, and that doesn't mean he's horrible by any means, and he already has guard. That's really the biggest asset that you get from his entrance animation, is he gets guard for the first 5 turns. But I just decided, like, we'll hold off on using the active skill kind of as long as possible. It just kind of, you know, I was trying to predict the way the fight would go. And we do get the seal on Metal Cooler. That is another nice thing that God Goku does. Tech Carnival Goku is still effective in here, right? He's infinitely stacking. He does have the active skill turn. You know, the attack break is still a very valuable tool that you can use in a fight like Metal Cooler. So if you negate one of his super attacks or you negate one of his heals, that's absolutely, you know, monumental. As I sort of alluded to earlier, I would probably argue Super Tech is probably the worst typing at this point. So they couldn't have really picked a worse... typing. And even if you're using Extreme Tech, like Extreme Tech is really nothing to shake a stick at. You know, Zamasu luckily has a massive, you know, leader skill that you can utilize with the 150% to all extreme class. That is obviously really, really good to have as a leader skill, but, you know, Extreme Tech is really nothing too great. It's probably the second worst extreme typing, I would say. Probably second to... probably Extreme STR, which is kind of hard to believe. Extreme STR used to be absolutely batshit crazy with the coolers, but it's just, it's not, you know, it's not 2022 anymore, unfortunately. So, 2024 Dokkan, man. This is, this is 2024 Dokkan, right? You need to dodge basically every super attack or you die. That is kind of just the way it is now. The bosses are just too powerful. A lot of characters can tank super attacks, you know, post-super. Almost, I don't want to say every character, but most characters can. Short of, like, really shitty, you know, sub-easy A's or something like that. Or, like, really old characters. Like, I don't think this guy could tank a super attack for sure, but even with his full defensive buff active. At this point, we're really just whittling down Metal Cooler. There's really not much else to do. Decided that, you know, these guys are both defensively stout enough. They're going to be able to eat up anything that Metal Cooler can dish out offensively, or defensively, excuse me. So anything that he can possibly dish out, they will just eat the attack. I think Tech Carnival Goku is built up enough now, with all of his stacks and everything else that he's doing. And just, I think he is fully built up in terms of getting hit at this point as well. I think that he had enough gas to kind of get the job done. And we'll just continue to seal him and lower his attack and just debuff the hell out of him. This fight, in a way, is a lot like the Gogeta fight, where you can lower his attack. But even if you lower his attack, he's still hitting you very, very hard. So, but yeah. Oh, yeah, and I forgot this asshole can dodge as well. So Metal Cooler dodging, man, that just... in the same way that, like, you can dodge the enemy and you can dodge their status effects, he can dodge your status effects. So obviously that is a very effective method for a boss to have. Very, very effective tool, being able to dodge a super attack like that. But let's actually watch the transformation of LR Orange Piccolo here. Now, for this particular part of the video, I decided to just go, you know, hyper mega ultimate speed mode. Just because we've all seen the Orange Piccolo super attacks so many times, and he just seems to go on forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. So we'll just go ahead and do the full fast forward here. With a few minutes left in the video here, guys, if for somehow you have made it this far, 41 minutes into the recording, you are an absolute GOAT, and I really would appreciate a like and a sub. It's not always easy to fill the air, you know, 46 minutes worth of commentary. So your boy really, really appreciates it. It helps, you know, spread the word to other, you know, folks out there looking for Dokkan Battle content, or potentially just Dragon Ball fans who have never heard of Dokkan Battle somehow, or, you know, maybe a newly budded Dragon Ball fan. So always important to spread the word for the channel. But you can see here, man, you know, Metal Cooler is just still hanging on. He's hanging on, you know, by a thread. And we actually have to build another team. If LR Orange Piccolo could have got a few more crits and a few more supers, like, it's possible that we could have, like, one-phased him. But just unfortunately, man, he was just, in the end, he was just too tanky. We weren't able to penetrate his defense. This might be an instance where lowering his defense to Kingdom Come would probably benefit you. I don't believe he has damage reduction. I don't think so. Let me fact check this. I actually was mistaken. He actually does have reduces damage received, which of course is typical of tough bosses. As we are winding down the video here, if there are any videos you want to see, if you want to see videos on only Metal Cooler or on any of the other bosses in here, let me know. I absolutely have no trouble making like a guide or, you know, straight up just taking down the bosses you guys want to see. The homie Maximus, the one and only homie Maximus, he is coming out with a series of guides on these bosses. So go ahead and check out, just type in Maximus Dokkan in your YouTube search bar, and you will be able to find him. He's been dropping a ton of content lately. I would highly recommend going to check him out and subscribing to his channel, right? Give him some likes. Give him some love from the homie Flex Media himself. So... but we are indeed able to take down Metal Cooler. It really wasn't just all that easy, right? Again, this was kind of the point in the fight where, like, he's supering like crazy. I'm not able to do enough damage here to really take him down. We're debuffing the fuck out of him, but we are just not able to do enough damage at this point. You know, this is one of the benefits of having big damage dealers on your team. And we didn't get Tech Merge Zamasu in the opening rotation, which I think would have been a lot better, and we would have just killed him. We got, I would argue, kind of a shitty opening rotation here. You know, not able to activate big bad bosses, not able to get an 18-key super attack, you know, yada yada yada. But this should be the last entrance animation of the video. But again, Merge Zamasu here, I think, is going to clutch it out for us. And as I said before, if there are any videos, you know, not pertaining to Dokkan Battlefield or not pertaining to the Ultimate Clash that you would like to see, let me know and I will make some videos on whatever it is you guys want to see. I think in a sea, just a vast sea of creators, and then Dokkan Battle being pretty limited in its gameplay. There's literally one core gameplay and that's it. You pop bubbles and you do super attacks and you kill bosses, right? That is pretty much the gameplay. There's really no two ways about it. So if there's anything special you guys want to see, I want to make that for you, right? Because it is pretty limited. I mean, there are a zillion bosses you can beat now, particularly after the 9th anniversary. But I want to make things that you guys want to watch. So we end up getting the dub here, guys. It was very close. Only had 12 characters left, which is scary. Scary, scary. The rewards, as always, are crazy. But I'm going to go ahead and end this video now. Slap a like if you enjoyed it. And if you made it this far, consider subscribing if you're new. If you made it 46 minutes into a video, you better damn well subscribe. I love you guys. Thank you for the support. It means the world. And I will catch you all in the next one. Later.